Hello guys, it's your boy Oyo back at it again with the OAHSPE. Let us go through the introduction, see what's stored for us today. OAHSPE, the history of Earth for 24,000. It claims to have the history of Earth for the past 24,000 years. So we are in the first, it's a preface of some sort before we get to the book of Jehovah or something like that. After the creation of man, the creator Jehovah said unto him, Thou shalt know thou art the work of my hand. I have given thee capacity for knowledge, power, and dominion. This was the first era. But man was helpless, crawling on his belly, and he understood not the voice of the Almighty. And Jehovah called his angels, who were older than the earth, and he said unto them, Go ye, raise man upright, and teach him to understand. And the angels of heaven descended to the earth and raised man upright. And man wandered about on the earth. This was the second era. Jehovah said to the angels that were with man, Behold, man hath multiplied on the earth. Bring ye them together, teach them to dwell in cities and nations. And the angels of Jehovah taught the peoples of the earth to dwell together in cities and nations. This was the third era. And this was this and in that same time the beast self rose up. Remember the definition of beast as religion. Beast self rose up before man and spake to him, saying, Possess thou whatsoever thou wilt, for all things are thine, and are good for thee. And man obeyed the beast, and woe came into the world. This was the fourth era. And man was sick at heart, and he called out to the beast, saying, Thou saidst, Possess thyself of all things, for they are good for thee. Now behold, woe and death have encompassed me about all sides. I pray thee, therefore, teach me peace. Death have encompassed me. I'm repeating. I pray thee, therefore, teach me peace. But the beast said, Think not I am come to send peace on the earth. I come not to send peace, but a sword. I come to set man at variance against his father, and a daughter against her mother. Whatsoever thou findest to eat, be it fish or flesh, eat thou thereof, taking no thought of tomorrow. I feel like this is kind of also talking about the Christians saying that the laws are done away with, things of that nature. And man ate fish and flesh, becoming carnivorous, and darkness came upon him, and he no more heard the voice of Jehovah, or believed in him. This was the fifth era. And the beast divided itself into four great heads, and possessed the earth about, and man fell down and worshipped them. And the names of the heads of the beast were Brahmin, Buddhist, Christian, and Mohammedan, and they divided the earth and apportioned it between themselves, choosing soldiers and standing armies for the maintenance of their earthly aggrandizement. And the Brahmins had 7 million soldiers, the Buddhists 20 millions, the Christians 7 millions, and Mohammedans 2 millions, whose trade was killing man, and man in service of the beast gave 1/6 of his life and his labor to war and standing armies, and 1/3 of his life he gave to dissipation and drunkenness. This was the sixth era. Jehovah called out to man to desist from evil, but man heard him not, for the cunning of the beast had changed man's flesh, so that his soul was hid as if in a cloud, and he loved sin. Jehovah called unto his angels in heaven, saying, Go ye down to the earth once more to man, whom I created it to inhabit the earth and enjoy it, and say ye to man, Thus saith Jehovah, Behold, the seventh era is at hand. Thy Creator cometh, commandeth thy change, from a carnivorous man of contention to a herbivorous man of peace. The four heads of the beast shall be put away, and war shall be no more on the earth. Thy armies shall be disbanded, and from this time forth, whosoever desireth not to war, thou shalt not impress, for it is the commandment of thy Creator. Neither shalt thou have any God, nor Lord, nor Saviour, but only thy Creator, Jehovah. Him only shalt thou worship henceforth, forever. I am sufficient unto mine own creations, and to as many as separate themselves from the dominion of the beast, making making these covenants unto me, have I given the foundation of my kingdom on the earth, and all such shall be my chosen. By their covenants and by their works shall they be known henceforth on the earth as mine, and shall be called faithists. But to as many as will not come, but to as many as will not make this covenant, have I given the numbers of the beast, and they shall be called Uzians, signifying destroyers. And these shall be henceforth the two kind of people on earth, faithists and Uzians. And the angels of heaven descended to the earth to man, and appeared before him face to face, hundreds of thousands of them, speaking as man speaketh, and writing as man writeth, teaching these things of Jehovah and his works. And in the 33rd year thereof, the ambassadors of angels host of heaven prepared and revealed unto man in the name of Jehovah his heavenly kingdom, and have thus herein made known the plan of his delightfulness, of his delightful creations, for the resurrection of the people of the earth. Not immaculate in this book, or OAHSPE, but to teach mortals how to attain to hear the Creator's voice and to see his heavens in full consciousness while he's still living on the earth, and to know of a truth the place and condition awaiting them after death. Neither are nor were the revelations within this OASP wholly new to mortals. The same things have been revealed at the same time unto many who live at remote distances from one another, but who are not in correspondence still afterwards. Because this light is thus comprehensive, embracing corporeal and spiritual things, it is called the beginning of the Cosmon Era, and because it relates to earth, sky, and spirit, it is called OASPE. What a beautiful introduction. Self-explanatory. I'm not going into, but basically, you see, it tries to relate with how man began living on Earth in a brief way. The voice of man. O Jehovah, what am I that I should supplicate thee? Know I mine own weakness, or understand I the way of my thought. Thou hast placed before me most wonderful creations. They impress me, and my senses rise up in resemblance of the Almighty. Wherein have I invented one thought but by looking upon thy works? How can I otherwise than remember my Creator, and out of thy creations, O Jehovah, find rich food for meditation all the days of my life? And yet, though I have appropriated the earth unto myself, I am not happy nor perfect withal. Misery and crime and selfishness are upon my people. Currently, it just paints up a good picture of what's happening in the world today. What is my weakness that I cannot overcome it? Or what is my strength that I succumb to the desires of the earth? I build up my belief and courage in thee. But ere I know the way of my weakness, I stumble and fall. Am I made that I shall be forever a reproof to myself and a censure to my own behavior? How shall I say to this man or that, be thou pure and holy, O man? Are not my flesh and blood proof that man cannot be without sin? O this corruptible self, this tendency to fall from the right way, thou, O my Creator, hast proven before my senses every day of my life that thou alone art mighty in purity and truth. Or that I had a starting point wherefrom to estimate thy wonderful decrees, or could find a road in which I should never stumble. But yet, O Jehovah, I will not complain because of the way of thy works. Thou hast invented a limit to my understanding, whereby I am reminded of thee to call upon thy name. I perceive my own vanity, that whereas one knowledge mine, I should become less beholding unto thee. What am I, O Jehovah, without thee? Or wherein shall I find the glory of thy creations, but by the light of thy countenance? Thou broughtest me forth out of sin and darkness, and clothed me in light. I behold the smallness of myself in thy great works. Thou hast bound me to travel on the earth, to sojourn with beasts and all manner of creeping things, nor given me one attribute wherein I can boast over them, save in the power of destruction. The high firmament placed thou above me, the stars and moon and sun. I know thou hast been thither, but I am bound down in a little corner of thy works. I have not power to rise up to thy distant places, nor to know thy extended heavens. Nay, I have not power to shape my own size and stature, but all things take form and dimension, whether I will or no. In thine own way are built the walls of the world, by dimension, whether I will, by their magnitude am I confounded, by the majesty of thy hand upheld. Why have I vainly set up myself as the highest of thy works? My failures are worse than any other living creature under the sun. I cannot build my house in perfection like a bird. My living creature under I cannot sorry. My ingenuity cannot fashion a spider's net. I cannot sail up in the air like a bird, nor live in the water like the fish, nor dwell in harmony like the bee. The half of my offspring die in infancy. The multitude of my household are quarrelers, fighters, drunkards, and beggars. The best of my sons and daughters are less faithful than a dog. I go forth to war to slay my brother, even whilst thy wide earth had room for all. Yea, I accuse the earth with starvation and sin and untimely death. Oh, that I could school myself to boast not of my greatness, that I should be forever ashamed in thy sight, Jehovah. Ah, actually, I feel like it's pointing at the ego that we have as a society today. All this thinking about everything in the world is about human beings. But I will make a clean breast of my iniquities. I can hide nothing from the eyes of my Creator. Hear me then, O Father. I took up arms against my brother with great armies. I encompassed him about to despoil him. His widows and orphans I multiplied by the stroke of my sword. The cry of anguish that came out of their mouths I answered by the destruction of my brother's harvest. To my captains and generals who showed great skill in killing, I built monuments in stone and iron. Yea, I inscribed them from top to bottom with their bloody victories. And in my vanity, I called out to the young, saying, behold the glory of great men. These great monuments I have built to them. And the youth of my household were weighted with ambition for spoil. The example of my hand made them train themselves for warfare. To my colonels and generals I gave badges of gold. I called to the damsels, saying, come, O great honor, I give to you. Ye shall dance with the officers of death. And they tripped up on tiptoe, elated by the honey of my words, O Jehovah. How have I not covered up my wickedness? How have I failed to make the flow of my brother's blood the relish of Satan? Actually mocking the bankers who finance the warfare and all these things for the sake of greed and control, people obsessed with power and control. Actually, this thing is, I feel like it's talking in form of a collective, not like an individual judgment. It's just meant for a human reader who will read it and try to comprehend it from the individual perspective, but it's referring to as the energy of the people of the earth today. I made an ingenious fatuous a kingdom. What's that word? Fatuous. Fatuous. A kingdom. Let me look it up. Oh, it's raining. Fatuous. Fatuous. Silly and pointless. Eh? I made an ingenious fatuous a kingdom. I called out to my people, saying, we must have a kingdom. I showed them no reason for it, but I bade them take up arms and follow me for patriotism's sake. And yet, what was patriotism? Behold, I made it as something greater than thee, and thy commandments, thou shalt not kill. Yea, by the cunning of my words, I taught them my brothers was my enemy, that to fall upon him and his people and destroy them was great patriotism. And they ran at the sound of my voice, for my glory in the greatness of my kingdom, and they accomplished great havoc. Yea, I built colleges for training my young men in warfare. I drew a boundary hither and thither, saying, this is my kingdom, all others are my enemies. I patted my young men on the head, saying, ye dogs of war, great shall be your glory. And their judgment was turned away from peace. I made them think that righteousness was to stand up for me and my country, and to destroy my brother and his people. They built me forts and castles, and arsenals without number. I called unto my people, saying, come, behold the glory of my defences, which I built for you. And they gave me money and garrison, and ships of war, and torpedoes shouting, hurrah, for our kingdom. We have faith in these things, but not in thee, our Creator. Thus I led them away from thee. Their eyes I turned down in the way of death. By the might of my armies I put away righteousness. I covered the earth over with drunkards and widows and orphans. To beggary I reduced them. But I whetted their pride by saying, behold, what great standing army we have. To the man that said, there shall come a time of peace, when war shall be no more forever. I mocked and said, thou fool, I know the counts against me. O Father, I cannot hide my iniquity from thy sight. I have said war was necessary evil to prevent a too populous world. I turned my back toward the wide, unsettled regions of the earth. With this falsehood in my mouth, I stood up before thee. Yea, I cried out as if for the righteous, saying, I woe for righteousness, and for the protection of the weak. In the destruction of my brethren, I stood as a murderer, pleading this excuse stubbornly. I persisted in not seeing justice on the other side. Willest I cut down whom thou hadst created alive? Above the works of thy hand, I raised myself up as a pruning knife in thy vineyard. I just like the way they have put the wording. It's very makes you recognize. Ye, more than this, I persuaded my sons and daughters that to war for me was to war for our Father in heaven. By my blasphemy, led I them into ruin. And when the battles was over for a day, I cried out, Behold the glory of them that was slain for the honor of their country. Thus have I added crime to crime before thee. Jehovah, thus destroyed thy beautiful creation. Verily, have I not one word in justification of my deeds before thee? Or that I have remained faithful with thee, Jehovah, be I invented gods unto the glory of the evil one. In one place I called out to my sons and daughters, saying, Be ye Brahmins, Brahma, saveth whosoever professeth his name. In another place I said, Be ye Buddhists, Buddha, saveth whosoever calleth on his name. In another place I said, Be ye Christians, Christ saveth whosoever calleth on his name. In another place I said, Be ye Mohammedans, whosoever saith there is but one God, and Mohammed is his prophet, shall have indulgence without sin. Thus have I divided the earth, O Jehovah, into four great idolatries. Have I founded them, and into their hands put all manner of weapons of destruction. And they are become more terrible against one another than are the beasts of the forest. Oh, that I could put away these great iniquities, which I raised up as an everlasting torment to the earth. Verily, there is no salvation in any of these. Their people are forever destroying one another. They quarrel and kill for their respective religions, setting aside thy commandments, thou shalt not kill. They love their own nation and hate all others. They set aside thy commandments, love thy neighbor as thyself. They preach and pray in sufficient truth, but not one of these people practiceth peace, love, and virtue in any degree commensurate with their understanding. These religions have not saved from sin any nation or city on the whole earth. In vain have I searched for a plan of redemption, a plan that will make the earth a paradise, and the life of man a glory unto thee, and a joy unto himself. But alas, the two extreme riches and poverty have made prospect of a millennium a thing of mockery. For one man that is rich, there are a thousand poor, and their interests are an interminable conflict with one another. Labor crieth out in pain, but capital smiteth him with an heartless blow. Nation is against nation, king against king, merchant against merchant, consumer against producer, ye, man against man, in all things upon the earth, because the state is rotten. The politician feedeth thereon, because society is rotten. The lawyer and the courts have riches and sumptuous feasts, because the flesh of my people is rotten. The physical findeth a harvest of comfort. Now, O Jehovah, I come to thee. Thou holdest the secret of peace and harmony and goodwill amongst mortal. Give me of thy light, O Father. Show me the way of proceeding, that war and crime and poverty may come to an end. Open thou the way of peace and love and virtue and truth, that thy children may rejoice in their lives and glorify thee and thy works forever. Such is the voice of man, O Jehovah. In all the nations of the earth, this voice riseth up to thee, As thou speakest to Zarathustra, and to Abraham and Moses, leading them forth out of darkness, O speak thou, Jehovah. Man hath faith in thee only. Thou alone was sufficient in the olden time. Today, thou alone art sufficient unto thy own creation. Speak thou, O Jehovah. That's it. Shall continue from there when I get enough time to go through this. Because some of them are very long. I'll see how I'll spin the narrative. It depends with what we'll be looking for. Because I don't think I'll just be reading through the entire thing. I'll just be looking for specific messages that I'm interested in. So, so stay tuned for next time, next episode. But this introduction is very interesting. It kind of mocks our limited understanding of reality, the kind of things our civilization is suffering from today, based on the mentality that we have of standing armies fighting for our God. Our gods became the government. The court system is corrupt because our mind is corrupt. The government, the judgment, all these things, they are all in alignment, and they create the kind of conditions that we have on earth. So we have capitalistic mentality where we just see each other as products, not as brothers. We see our earth as a resource where we should mine and exploit it instead of working together with it for our own use and use for every other living creature that is part of the system that we are in. We tend to see as we are isolated. In the end of that process, we end up messing our environment and getting imbalances in nature. But we're supposed to be the ones who are taking care of the garden, and we forgot this message. If you remember the Bible teachings, they tell you Adam and Eve were to take care of the garden. They even named all the animals and everything. That's a very important aspect that you need to understand, that the power that was given in man and this ability, but we chose disorder. In the beginning, the angels raised us to a capacity where we could begin going, creating our own cities and things like that. I think that's where they get the story of the fallen angels, where they taught us even bad science and things like that. But that comes from man. In the beginning, man was taught the knowledge of how they should be in the right way and how to raise themselves in their civilization. But later on, they became obsessed with evil, which they could not understand when the guardians that were with us in the beginning left. So we ended getting civilization, and they fell because of such limited beliefs, which we are working through over a generation of time. And these conflicts that has arisen from the past is what we has emerged to what we see today as Christian, Islam, Brahminism, and all those things, where people have been led to fight for their religion, corrupting the teachings of it's just basically a universal truth. All life is just the same. Eating flesh and things like that comes from the corruption of teaching and misunderstanding, and also from our evolutionary mixing. We do not all come from the same mixture of origin, if I put it that way. And I'll say that's good for today, and we shall finish another time. Let's build bridges, upendo amani. Tuonane baadaye.